This Raw Vision video is brought to you by Metro Solar, proud partner of the Richmond Football Club. G'day Tiger fans, welcome to Raw Vision, brought to you by Metro Solar, and today I'm joined by Tim Clarke, our VFL coach, and we're going to have a look back at the 2014 season. Clarkey, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Richo.
Mate, your first year down, one season gone as coach of the VFL team. How did the season go? Was it a success?
It was a success when you look at our KPIs that I set with Damien and some of the other staff at the start of the year. But if you look at our win-loss record, you'd say that the season wasn't a success because we didn't make finals. We finished in the bottom 4 or 5 teams in the competition. But
it wasn't about wins and losses when you set it up. It was about development, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it always will be. When you've got that AFL standalone team, it is about development. But a massive part of development's winning and preparing yourself to play finals. And we had a situation where we had beaten Port Adelaide in the final. Some of our players wouldn't have played for 2 weeks because we're not playing, and that's something that we need to address with our AFL list of players and make sure that they perform better at VFL level, but also bring in some extra guys on our VFL list that can really lead and have an impact.
Well, looking back to probably this time last year when the planning really started, there must have been a huge amount of work that you had to go through to get the team out onto the field. Yeah,
it was, and Wayne Campbell did a fantastic job before he jumped over to the umpires. He really helped set up a lot of the grunt work behind the team, and it took 6 months of really important, detailed work that he did, and then getting Dan Hull on board, who's our operations. I call him the general manager of VFL. He's a star, and he makes the whole thing tick.
So how important now, after a year, is it, do you think, having the same system in the VFL and the AFL and aligning the coaching up so that the same message is getting through? Is it that important?
I think it is, and it's if Damien wants a player to play on a wing or to be able to work on something in his game, he can coach him during the week, and he knows on the weekend we're going to be trying our best to get him to do that in his game, and then we can analyse it, we can really look at it closely.
How important were Andrew McQualter and obviously Max Bailey coming across from Hawthorn and the Saints just out of the system?
Yeah, very good coaches. They're both in their first year, but they have terrific relationships with the boys, which is half the battle of being a good coach. They work hard week in, week out, and they're the type of guys that are just engaged by the players. So they'll make terrific coaches. We're in a really good place right now with our team, having both Max and Andrew, and also Rob Innes, our fitness guy, who's around our age as well. So we've got a really strong team of support staff that help out our boys. What
about you, Clarkey? How much have you grown as a coach this year?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. There's been some real challenges this year. It's some of your thoughts on footy become a little bit clearer when you start to coach and manage more people. But I've had some frustrations this year just because the performance hasn't been there that we expected. And even though it is always about development, if you're a competitive person, you want to go out there and try and do as well as you can. And even though it is and will always be about the development of our players, we want to make sure that we're playing finals footy with our VFL program, and that means a lot to the guys that are involved in that. And I feel if we can get that ingrained in everyone at the club as well, that yes, it's about development, but it's also about building a strong VFL side, and it'll make us a lot more successful.
And did you feel like you had a real sense of identity playing here at the ME Bank Centre? It is a Richmond team, you're playing in Richmond at our traditional home ground.
I think it was terrific for everyone. The staff really got behind it, the supporters got behind it, the players were able to come out here on a terrific surface. All the other teams that came here to the ME Bank Centre loved it. They said it was one of their favourite grounds to come and play at.
Well, I guess reaping the benefits and having this great surface and facility here, is that going to help you attract players that want to come and play for Richmond's VFL team?
I think it does. You say this is where we train, this is what you're going to have access to if you become a Richmond VFL player. And I think the majority of players that we've spoken to walk away and go, it is an amazing setup. And then it's about trying to sell to them the benefits of playing with a standalone VFL side.
And Ross Young, he was a great leader for the club during the year. How did you rate his season and the influence he had as captain?
Ross was terrific, and he knew, having played at State League before, he knew he had to get his body right to be able to sustain or to be able to maintain it through a VFL season. And right from that first session, he knew he was going to be a success in terms of on-field performance, and he showed that week in, week out. that he is a absolute top-end VFL/state league player. And he's been outstanding for us, both on the field and also with his leadership.
So you see plenty of scope for improvement then next year?
Oh, we do. We've got to make sure we can match some of the better teams. If you watch the VFL over the final series, you'll see that the contested ball, which Richmond are quite strong in at AFL level, really dictates to how well you go at VFL level. We need to make sure we've got more midfielders, a little bit more depth in that area of the ground. Because we've got no issue with key forwards. We had times we had 5 or 6 of them, but we need to make sure that we get some more midfielders to be able to add some depth both at AFL level and on our VFL list.
So who looks after the recruiting now over the summer for the VFL team, to bring in that depth?
Dan Hull drives most of it, so he really sort of looks into the players that we want. Also, I go and I speak to Damien about, look, what do we want our VFL side and AFL side to look like? What type of players do you want? It's no point myself and Dan going to get a player to come and play for us, and then Damien go, well, I don't want that type of player playing the Richmond style. So we've got to be aligned with what the senior coach wants and the expectations, and then we go and try and find the best fit. Our main draw card's always character. If we can get a good guy in who can also lead and play some good footy, it's really going to help our boys. And it's like you said, it's an easy sell coming here to Richmond. But we need to find the right guys who can make our players on the Richmond list better.
So where do you look for those guys? Do you go into state, or is it in the metro leagues around Melbourne here? Is it tough to find them?
We prefer to look for guys that are more local, who, one, you don't have to pay those sort of transfer fees for, but you also give some younger guys an opportunity who are playing local footy to go, I wouldn't mind having a crack at the VFL. And then obviously we probably need 2 or 3 guys who we know can impact VFL footy, who can make sure that they help with the development of our Richmond players.
Well, Clarkey, let's have a look at a couple of players individually, I guess we're looking for to step up into that AFL system next year. And one that I love, Liam McBean. How would you rate his season?
Liam's one of the most talked about players that most people bring up when you're talking about Richmond and the VFL program. And he's a good kid, Liam. He tries his hardest, but he didn't have the year that was going to push him into senior level this year, and we're hoping that over summer he can do that. So if he can bring the expectation of that key forward to his game, he's going to be pretty dangerous to match up on.
What about Matty McDonough? Played some senior footy earlier in the year and then faded out of the team, I guess, when they started winning.
Matty had an up and down year. At the start of the year he started at half back, and then due to matchups and a couple other things, the coaches decided that he was better suited as a forward/midfielder, and he played some terrific games. He played some outstanding games where he was getting good clearance numbers, good contested footy, and then started kicking 2s and 3 goals as well, which was showing his impact as a forward. Matty needs to have a really big pre-season to give himself every opportunity to be able to play that sort of forward role that can go and pinch hit in the midfield.
What about Benny Lennon? Only a young kid, probably needs to put a bit of weight on, but showed some signs at senior level when he went in there.
We're quite excited about Ben and what he can offer over the next 12 months. He was frustrated himself by not playing more senior games, but if you watched him at the start of the year and then watched him at the end of the year, he became a much better player. He trained much better out on the track. He trained, you noticed him, where at the start of the year he did some flashy things, but really started to have a presence out on the training track. And he always performed well at VFL. So you can always be very critical of a player, of things he needs to work on, but he consistently kept getting the ball, kept putting the ball inside 50, kept doing the right thing. And we're quite confident that he's going to be a really good player as he starts to feel into his body.
We look forward to seeing all those guys go next year. Clarke, you having a bit of time off now? What's the go?
We get October off as coaches, so get a little 4-week spell and going to duck over to Amsterdam and run another marathon.
You're mad. You're absolutely mad. Why are you doing this to yourself?
I don't know if I can do it for too much longer, mate, because when you start getting towards the end of the year, it gets a bit tiring.
So Amsterdam Marathon.
Amsterdam.
We hope you do it, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Clarke.